and you've had, let's say, quite the life.
Yeah, I have. Certainly when I was younger, definitely, Gary. You know, I mean, I went through a lot of daft moments in my life. I was young, growing up as well. We're all young, but of course I struggled to handle it in a way. I was on the streets of Stirling. I was, going to nightclubs. I was, getting myself in terrible situations, and I found it difficult to cope. Probably being a football player and getting recognised, and I found it difficult to walk away. But I've been as honest as I possibly could be in the book. I've been honest as you rightly noticed and observed, and that's me. Yeah. It's got to be straight, haven't you?
You mellowed now, though, in your older age, because you were obviously, it's interesting. Your relationship with your dad is quite strong in the book, and you can see that one of your dad's things was how you get your punch in first, and he was also a bouncer at times, and he's obviously a hard-working man. You've got massive respect and love for him. That comes shining through the book. But do you think because of the way you were brought up, you were kind of attracted towards those situations which could land you in trouble?
Possibly. Although, as you say, my dad was a working man, a strong man, and got us out a tenement into the council houses, and we moved into a bigger house, the family house that we're in now. And tremendous man. I've got no real excuse. I'd love to say, but my dad stopped drinking when he was a young man as well. I've stopped drinking. Unfortunately, I just stopped drinking too late. I should have maybe started drinking now. When you're younger, you should have done it back to front.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking when I was 35. I should have just been starting then. So I think, my upbringing possibly, we all got brought up in the States at the time. And, there was, I liked to do a wee bit of boxing and I knew how to throw a punch and etc. And obviously my dad's advice was to get the first one in, don't hang around. And just get in there. Don't ask questions, and probably that's good advice in a way, but no if you're a football player, no if you're, you're in the public eye, and in the end, people came towards me and I would hit first, really. And that got me in a lot of trouble between 16 and 19, I think. Yeah. A period in my life that I'm not proud of.
When you were part of that growing up and you were going through these issues and you were, obviously you've got a temper. You've got a temper. Do you see the red mist? Because I haven't got that. I've never had, I always think, I find it fascinating, people who have that red mist when it just goes.
Yeah, probably when I was younger, I had a short, a quicker fuse, I think. Yeah. As you've got older and you mellow, don't you? You become a better person. You don't put yourself in their positions. I stopped drinking. Before you know it, you stop confrontation off the field. Yeah. So I've had no confrontation, since I've not had a drink type of thing. I've not been in nightclubs or bars. The temper-wise, when you get to the playing side, I was aggressive, and certainly there was a fuse in there, and obviously I crossed the line too many times, and I'm not proud of it, Gary. To be honest, it's not. I don't think I'm not proud of the fact that I got red cards or I've been to prison or had these assaults. It's not what I put my mum and dad through. It keeps me up at night.
Your experience of Barlinnie prison, it sounds like medieval, horrendous.
Well, it was to be honest, and it was frightening. It was frightening. I suppose in a way when you're younger, you don't realise how frightening. I mean, I was probably in a way thinking, this would be exciting. I'm young. I can handle myself. I'm fit. I'm just going to get in and meet it head on. But I was petrified as well, terrifying. Yeah. Not a nice place. No. Not a nice place. And you're right, it's probably a bit like kind of old Porridge. When you see the old sitcom, The Porridge, and you see the television, it's a bit like that. It's old Victorian, medieval, like you say, the medieval Victorian thing. Not a nice place. And I think when you go in there, you could easily get in a bad place very quickly if you're not strong enough, It's not easy, mate. It's not easy. I was only a young man. I was only 23, I think, when I went in. Yeah. And it was Barlinnie. It's in the middle of the city centre. It's in the middle of Glasgow. Yeah. There's no one open, Nick.
Why were you sent there?
Probably because I was probably a massive threat to the community, whatever they or standing in the taxi line.
I mean, you went in there because of something that actually happened on the field of play, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's the last time it's happened, and because I think they changed the rules. I was on probation, Gary, for these fat lips and black eyes, I call it, when I was younger, between 16 and 19. I got myself in 2 or 3 situations.
Yeah, there was 2 at a bus stop, wasn't there?
Yeah, the taxi rank, and
it's amazing that you wait all that time for one to come along, then 2 fights come
along at the same time. You've been meant to get them in, haven't you? So keep out your taxi ranks, keep away from pool tables. That's where my problems all started.
I
And
played
was-
snooker for 10 years. I never saw a scrimmage in there ever. But that was Leicester. We're quite soft down
Snooker
here.
is a bit more classier than pool.
Yeah. Remind people what happened at Ibrox. It was with John McStay against Wraith Rovers.
Yes, I'd had 2 or 3 assaults previously, as we discussed, in the taxi ranks and in pool tables, and I'd been put in probation. The last offence was in a fishing village in Anstruther. I got into a fight with some fishermen, and that was my last. Then I went to court. The judge then put me on probation, because I was running a bit wild, and the judge thought, well, we'll put me on probation. So that means then if I committed another offence within the next 2 years, I think it was, I was potentially going to prison. Obviously, I didn't think that was going to happen on a football pitch.
No.
So I was on a football pitch at Ibrox, tussle for the ball. I collided with John McStay, which was a headbutt, but it was not a forced headbutt. We connected.
Was it one of those?
That's it.
Strutting sort of thing.
That's it. And I put my head forward. He went down as he would do because he felt the force. And that was it. So no discussion, no nothing. Referee comes up, no problems, no yellow card. They get a free kick. We play on. Nothing said. I think I scored my first goal for Rangers that day. I scored my first goal. Nothing said. After the game, the press then goes into McStay and said to him, all the Rangers boys in there are saying you cheated.
Yeah.
You
didn't even get a yellow or
Not
red
a yellow.
card for that, did you?
Not a yellow,
Yeah.
not nothing.
No.
Played on.
Wasn't even VAR. You can't even blame them.
No, that'd have been a straight red then all day long. So the press had said to the boy McStay that Big Dunk saying that you dived, and the Rangers boy saying you dived. He said, I never dived. They did connect with me. I'm not a cheat. So they had their headline. Next day, Big Dunk headbutts me. So of course, then it was all over the papers, all over the news. And there was a procurator fiscal, they call him in Scotland, a judge. He must have watched it on the television at night. And he then knew that I was on probation. So he then called the police to investigate this situation, this assault in Ibrox. Yeah. So the guy assaulted never complained. The 40,000 fans in the stadium witnessing this assault never complained. 200 police in Ibrox never complained. Nobody. So that's why I felt it was unfair on me.
And then the Football Association, the Scottish Football Association, banned you for what?
12 games.
Yeah.
They jumped into the case quickly. They banned me for 12 games prior to the court case. So I thought that was prejudging me, and it was unfair. They gave me a 12-game ban, and it just snowballed from there really. And in the end, obviously, I started getting realising that I got charged for the offence, and then I realised then that this could possibly end in prison for me.
There was, fair, I don't know, maybe it's not the best way, but an aura about you. But that also comes across in your dealings with other players. There's a couple of amusing little snippets where, for example, you're not shaking hands with people.
Yeah, that was
With something you regret. David Beckham, for example. Tell me that one about Becks.
Well, I really regret that. You know what I mean? That was just daft what I was doing.
Tell me
there.
again.
Well, basically, I stopped shaking people's hands, really. For some reason. Probably 99% of the time I never shook somebody's hand, you know. So after the game, when the final whistle went, I just walk off the pitch. I wouldn't go near anybody. And maybe that was building up that aura that, you know, that was a big hard case, and God almighty, you know, if you go near Duncan Fergusons, you're going to flatten me, you know. Yeah. Maybe I played on that a wee bit. So yeah, in the time with David Beckham, I think they just won the league at Everton. And obviously I was upset, but we lost the game, they'd won the league. And he shouted to me, Dunk, shake my hand, Dunk, And I turned around and she said, off, I turned away, you know what I mean? Like, shake your hand, and I walked away, It was just daft. Yeah. It's David Beckham, a legend of the Premier League, world-class football player, won everything, you know what I mean? Was an incredible player. Yeah. And there's me blanking him, you know what I mean? Yeah. And as the years go, you just feel like, what the f***, what a complete idiot. I should have been ripping the shirt off his back.
Yeah. Would have worth a few quid now,
well, that's it.
Exactly.
And we're keeping that memory and giving it to the kids, Yeah. They all know who David Beckham is. Ronaldo. One of my sons idolise Ronaldo. They idolise him. How well he's done his career, how he's lived a clean life. I never even shook his hand. I never even asked him for anything, I never even spoke to him, He was not a young man at the time, but daft things you do when you're younger, and you regret, that's just one of the things. Sorry, Dave. Sorry, David Beckham. Sorry. I'm not that he'll be bothered his arse, will he? Let's be fair. He'll not be giving two shits.
But how often for you did you pick one player that you knew you were going to try rattle?
Never. I never tried to pick anybody. This is the truth. I never. It sounds stupid like that. I reacted. I reacted childishly. To that handshake, I reacted to that. He shakes my hand, we get on with the game. Nothing happened. There was a boy at Aston Villa once, he came on as a sub, I can't remember his name, a foreign lad. Back end of the season, big Staunton, was it, it's a centre-back at Republic of Ireland.
Steve Staunton?
Steve Staunton playing centre-back. This kid comes on the pitch as a sub, foreign lad, and he comes on the pitch and starts shouting at me.
Was that Alpay, was it? Alpay, Turkish centre-half?
I got a 3-game ban for it, right? But I never got a red card. Because what happened is it was the last game of the season, right? I think it was one of the last games of the season, and I'm on the pitch playing with Steve Staunton, playing a big lovely fella, playing the game. The game's nearly dead. There's only 10-15 minutes to go. There's nothing on the game. I'm talking away, whatever, no problem. And this boy comes on and starts screaming at me, "You Ferguson, yeah, Ferguson, this, yeah." And he starts talking this like language, you know. I'm thinking, what are you going on? Who's this guy? And I could see Staunton going, "Oh no, oh no." So I'm thinking he's going to come. He's coming after me. So guess what happened? The ball's coming down the pitch. He's running along the side of me. I just stopped him, went bang, took him out. 3-game ban. I got a 3-game ban at the end of the season. I was suspended for the next season, and I missed the first 3 games the next season. And that's when Moyes was in, and I lost the second season of Moyes, and I lost. I had a 3-game ban. But again, in my defence, if there is a defence, if he never says nothing to me, I don't do that. So there was a wee bit something wrong with me. If you say something to me and you were aggressive towards me, I reacted. If you never...
But it was never premeditated.
No. Never.
But did managers ever done? Did they ever try and calm you down? Like play on the edge. Like because obviously it's spilling over a bit too much. Was there a point where they tried to kind of get the optimal Duncan Ferguson without getting the bans? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
Did anyone sit down and have a chat with you?
In the end, as I got older, Peter, I got more crankier. As my career was starting to wane, and I wasn't the same player, I started racking up more red cards then, and I didn't like what I was doing. I wasn't the same player as I was. I wasn't performing the way I was performing, and I was getting a bit more narkier. So as I got older in my career, I got more red cards, I suppose. But no, obviously all the managers tried to sit me down and probably got fined a few quid and. Whatever.
But if you take that away from you, you take the player, you take your character.
It's just a red card, Sid, innit? It's just a red cards, mate, innit? It's just I regret them, mate. Just daft, stupid things, cheap shots, mate. Just play the game. But again, if I thought I was threatened or I thought somebody was coming after me, then I'd try and get them first. Wayne and Alan Shearer. Alan and Wayne were the two.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that.
They're the 2 world-class players.
Yeah, I was going to come on to Alan because you moved to Newcastle. How did that move come about? Because it seemed like that was your happy place.
It was quick. It came around very quickly. Yeah. Everton was going skint. This is their story to me. Right? They were going skint, needed a few quid. I was a saleable asset. The banks were closing in seemingly. That was their spiel to me. That was the story.
Did you not believe that?
I did at the time, but you just don't know, do you? As you get older, you get more wiser. Maybe they just wanted me off the books. Maybe they just wanted me gone. But that was the story to me, that the banks were closing in. They got 7 million quid plus another £1 million add-ons, 8 million quid for me. They thought it was a good deal. And it happened very quickly. Within a few days, I got a phone call. This could be happening, really. Walter, God bless him, was there at the time. He never knew a lot about it either. Didn't want it to happen.
Did you feel like you had no choice?
There was always a choice. Yeah. I could have come back, and I was thinking about and I said to Walter, I went up to Newcastle. I stayed there for 3 nights, 3 days, never signed the contract. Stayed there waiting. And of course, all the fans were kicking off. It was all gone off about we wanted Duncan Ferguson's going to Newcastle because Everton at the time was struggling with the bottom league. Yeah. This could have relegated them. And I said to Walter, I want to come back, and man, I could just sense, they want me gone. Yeah. For whatever reason, they want me off the wage, but they want me gone. So you can't go back, really. I couldn't have went back, really.
It was the Newcastle boss at the time. Hullet, wasn't it? Yeah. Rude.
I liked him.
Yeah.
I got on well with him.
Yeah.
He rated me as a player. I think he's trying to get me to Chelsea once. I like Rude. I thought he was a good tactician, wonderful player. He played in the Euros in '92. He was the best player I ever saw.
He was unbelievable, wasn't he? Him and Van Basten. And
I was a substitute that day in the opening game. There was Van Basten in that team on the top with Rijkaard, Koeman and Hullet. And that's when I realised, wow, these are players. I'd never saw these players before. And that's when you knew what kind of level you had to get to, you know what I mean? They were different class. And he became a manager. I got on well with him. I liked him.
Yeah,
he didn't go on so well with Alan, but I got on well with him.
Alan Shearer, right, let's talk about Alan Shearer. Now, you said I didn't really get on that well with Alan, did you?
I did.
Yeah.
I got on well with him.
Yeah.
Hey, Larry, to begin with, maybe no.
I'm just trying to stir it up.
Well, to begin with, maybe no.
Well, I suppose
he's
he's
injured.
Yeah. Is that why they got you, perhaps? Because he was injured? Was it one of his big injuries, wasn't it, with his cruise shirt?
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but anyway, he was at one. He was doing his rehab. I was coming into the team, and we never really spoke. He was doing his thing. I was doing my thing. I think the first thing he came out to me, the first thing he said to me is, "How much are you getting?" I think that was his
always the case.
I think that was his first communication.
Yeah.
Hey, big man, how much are you earning? He must have had a wee clause in his contract. He had to be the top
biggest
earner.
player. Yeah.
I says, Alan, don't be worrying. It's not the amount you're thinking. It's not the amount that's getting written in the paper.
Yeah.
But Alan was great with me, to be fair. And we got him brilliantly well.
He talks very highly of you.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's a great player.
Oh.
What a player. What a goal scorer. And, and he was, him and Wayne were on a different level to most of the players I ever played with. They were a different cut. You know the score. You were a part of that group. They're on a different level, you know what I mean? And Alan was certainly there.
There must be something on Big Dunk. Big Dunk, just Big Dunk.
I've seen him telling the story about when he got done, when he lynched the two burglars.
Aye.
And it was
Amazing story. Fucking Gary Naismith was sitting next to him the day after in the dressing room, and he was just fascinated by it. And Gary was just like, "When did you stop hitting them?" And he just says, "Just when they stopped moving." And his knuckles were like red raw. But that Dunk he's such a character. But like, I mean, in fairness to Moyes, he caused Moyes a couple of like hairy moments because on the pitch. But it was funny for us. But Moyes must have been fuming with him. We're playing Bolton at Goodison, and somebody's coming in behind him from throwing. Obviously, once you make contact with him, like you've got taking your life in your hands, aren't you? So anyway, he just threw a massive elbow and smashed him in the ribs. And it was Emerson Tom, centre half, straight red. So we're winning 1-0 and end up drawing the game. And come in the dressing room and Moyes has gone to him, "Big man, what are you thinking? You've let us down massively there." And Dunk's gone, "I know, Gaffer, I know. I thought it was Nolan."
That would have been all right.
That was his reasoning. So then literally, we're playing Wigan away as soon as he's back from his suspension. And Paul Schorner had just signed, and he came in, big, I think Swiss-Austrian lad, big lad, and thought he was a bit of a hard nut. So playing against Wigan, anyways, marking Dunk from a corner. They've had a little bit of a scuffle anyway, and Dunk's just threw a right, not even an elbow this time, just a full right hook into the ribs. Shauna's just gone down like absolutely. That's a picture. I don't know if you remember Jimmy Bullard looking up at Dunk. So that was then. Anyway, Shauna's gone down. I think he even got took off. I think he might crack the rib. I don't know. But first game back, off again, straight red. Similar thing happened. We were winning. We ended up drawing. So dressing room again afterwards. Fucking hell, big man. You're absolutely killing us, man. Absolutely killing us. He says, I know, I'm sorry, but I caught him a f***ing beaut. That's two explanations for straight reds.